I am sure sports. You know me there, I'm coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get your sports over here from near and far. Boy, 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 boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never see no game, me no know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you a go love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crap of players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment. Let me know what your thoughts are.
All right. Good evening, good night. Whoa, I don't normally do videos at this time, but welcome to I Am Sure Sports. This is probably the first time I'm doing a video at this time, but this person is so special and so limited in terms of availability and time that we had to get it done at this time tonight. It has been one that we have been working very diligently to have. There one of my friends have a program going on right now, and also NFL game going on, and it's a Sunday, right? But like I said, this is a very, very special guest we have tonight, and this is one of the available slots, and he's going to be joining us at 8:30 for this epic discussion, right? Because sometimes I think when we say interview, people expect some sort of formality based on what they see on television. The reason why we're in vlogging is because we offer something different. And if we do what you see on TV, then there's no difference in terms of our production and what we do. So let's not call it an interview, let's call it a discussion. And so some of the formalities and mode of questioning may be different from what you're generally accustomed to. All right, good to have those of you who have already jumped on. We ask you that once you come onto the platform that you hit the like button, you subscribe as well if you have not, and you share. You let someone else know who may be interested in this kind of a content that I Am Sure Sport is on, and they have this particular person on, and you may want to listen to them at this time. All right, so go ahead and do that right now. Very easy thing to do. So welcome every single one of you really appreciate you coming on. Know you have other things you could be doing at this time, so I appreciate your company. Also appreciate our sponsors. Um, sponsors of this video: Launch Legacy, handle risk and seek legacy. For all of your personal insurance needs in Canada and the USA, visit them at launchlegacy.com or call or text 647 989 0782. That's Launch Legacy. Handle risk and seek legacy. Also, Prestige Finance. Yes, Prestige Finance, located out there in Linstead, right? They offer loans, lending a helping hand when you need it most. You can call them at 876-884-7390. Low interest rate. They offer up to $100,000 in loans. No guarantors required. Yes, you just turn up, same day loan. Everything is processed in the same day, between 1 to 4%. Prestige Finance. So go and check them out. And when you go, let them know that you heard about them from I Am Sure Sports. Just to also give you some sporting information in the JPL today, for those of you who would have missed the games. 2 games were played. They were the games that were scheduled for Saturday, but because of the Manning Cup and the Walker Cup, they had to be shifted to today, which is Sunday. And in those games, yes, the first game ended 2-2. Yes, it was a 2-2 tie between Humble Lion and Tivoli Gardens. The second game, Mount Pleasant, playing with 10 men for the entire second half, got a late goal from Sajay Anderson, one of the youngsters from their academy, to clip Harborview by a goal to nil. So that's the action in the JPL today for those of you who probably would have missed it. All right. You would have also seen or heard that the squad has been released. That is the Jamaica squad for the 3 World Cup games, qualifying games coming up against Mexico, Panama, and Costa Rica. We have Mexico at home, Panama away, and Costa Rica at home. 3 goalkeepers are Andre Blake, Amal Knight, and Dwayne Miller, who didn't make the trip to Peru because he had tested positive for COVID. So obviously he would recover. As it was stated, he was asymptomatic. All right. In defense, we have Damian Lowe, who captained the team in Peru, Adrian Mariappa, Javane Brown, Liam Moore, Alvas Powell, Ethan Pinnock, yes, returns, Kemar Lawrence, and we see Greg Lee also receiving a callback, right? Alvas Powell, like I said, is also in the team. In midfield, Daniel Johnson returns to the fold, right, along with Ravel Morrison, Devon Williams, Kevin Stewart, the Blackpool player, former Liverpool player, injury prone, gets his first call up. And 2 of the players who were in Peru, in Lamar Walker and Peter Lee Vassell, they make the team. Junior Fleming, Corey Burke, Mikel Antonio, Javon East, Andre Gray, and Bobby Reed makes it in the forward position. So that's the 23-man squad. Hopefully, if everyone is in there, then that's the team that we will have for all 3 games. All right, that's the team that we will have for all 3 games. And so we hope for the best. A notable absentee is Leon Bailey, who is still out injured. Shamar Nicholson, he's also out. We don't see Anthony Grant, who has been a major part, and Javon Watson, two of the older players. They're not in this present squad. Um, I don't know. Maybe Watson has not recovered because he played so long in the Peru game, or the program has passed him. Those are some of the notable absences, as well as Tyreek McGee. But there's a lot of questions that can be asked in terms of the squad selection. Like, so what was the purpose of the game over there? Was it just to give fitness, a level of fitness to Lowe and to Javian Brown and to Kemar Lawrence, to the players who would have been in this squad? Because outside of that, none of the players who were fringe players really made the team. So question marks there in terms of how important was the game in Peru. But again, no spectators will be allowed in the stadium. It's kind of amazing because I'm watching the cricket game with the West Indies today, and the stadium in Barbados was I mean, I would say packed, crammed, full. Yeah, and I'm thinking, like, we couldn't have some level of spectator support for an important assignment as this. Is it that advocating for it wasn't at the best level? I don't know, but something seemed to be wrong in terms of the ability of the federation and the government to come together, um, and kind of clearly address the 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 importance of the sport of football as it relates to Jamaica as a nation, and its impact in communities on a whole. And I think because that is not, there is no consensus, something is missing there. And I think that is why we continue to see these things where no spectator at all will be allowed. I guess people can be given, I don't know what amount of persons may benefit from accreditation and may be able to attend the game. But it's a sad situation, and we need to find a better way of handling the nation's football. Um, and so I challenge the federation, the minister of sports, and whomever else is in this particular capacity. Hold on, I have my guests trying to reach out to us. Sorry about that. We have our guest now, so we're going to have him on. Welcome again to everyone. Please, all right, I want you to ask the questions you have, but here's what we're going to do. I may not be able to answer or take a question when you ask them. So if I don't, I'm not ignoring you. Just please put them up at a more appropriate time. All right. Um, Mr. Downswell, Coach Downswell, my coach, my first coach. I don't know how to introduce you, so I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself. I don't even know
No, man, you do that, man. You do the honors.
So people, this is the first person who brought me to the national stadium, right? He didn't just bring me there to watch a game, but he brought me there to basically live there, I think, for a couple of weeks, representing the parish team. You understand me? I probably was the smallest person there, so he took care of me. Um, I didn't get to watch him in his playing days because I was young, but I saw him in his coaching days at Reno, and I had the privilege of being in Westmoreland when Reno was having tremendous success under his leadership as a coach. And then I also witnessed him involved in the national program, and many players from youth to senior level going to World Cup with 2 youth teams. I mean, winning competitions with STETHS, passing it on. I don't know if there's anything he has not accomplished in coaching. Now he has ascended to the technical director of Jamaica's football, a position that I know they said uneasy lies ahead. That wears the crown. So yeah, but very astute, highly intelligent. You talk about humble and soft spoken and don't even like to do interview. This is a man here. So I'm very, very privileged to have him on. So welcome, Sir Coach Doneswell.
Welcome, Mr. Manning's Bannstead. Of course, and good evening to the viewers and listeners. I would imagine that you have a large volume of viewers and listeners, because I realize that your program is gaining so much traction as it relates to you really go about in terms of disseminating information to the respective audience. So once again, good evening to everyone, and really thanks for inviting me and this your illustrious program.
You're welcome, sir. You're welcome. So listen, a lot of people don't like. For me, I didn't grow up seeing you. I grew up hearing about you and Bengeleng and that Reno team, but I actually didn't. So I heard the stories. So I want you to kind of begin by sharing a little bit with us, help us to get to know you more about how did you actually start playing football, and did you play for the great man in school? Go ahead.
That is your technical high school. Well, it all started at the primary school level. I can recall at the primary school level we had a principal from the late Hubert Wanless. He was the principal of South Primaries, of course. Very passionate about the love of football. And I can recall in those days he used to take us to play against Manning's First Farm and Unity Primary. At the time that there were those 2 schools we have there or thereabout during that time. At that level, the primary school was Unity Primary and South Primary, and then we would play against Manning's First Farm. So the passion start and develop there. That is something that we really look forward to as youngsters, and there and then the passion developed, and then from there I move on to Savlamar Secondary School, in which now Godfrey Stewart High, and there again I came up again with a coach by the name of Hilly Campbell. He took us through the rudiments as it relates to football at that level. We had Spider, of course, we have Desmond, Big Ed Pringle, we have Andre Andrews.
We're at sub-secondary?
Yeah, at sub-secondary.
That's Clive Wedderburn. That's Spider, right?
Yeah, and that's where it all started, because we went on to win the rural area secondary school competition at that time, it was called. And then we went on to the national final, and we were beaten finalists. I think it was Vauxhall who defeated us in the finals in Kingston. Again, I was stayed at the National Stadium, and we spent at least, I think, a week at the National Stadium. So I was a little country boy at them time when we got stadium. But I think we lost that game 2-1 against Vauxhall. So it all started, and from there, we were thinking of now forming the Arena Football Club itself, and we then venture into starting the Arena Football Club. At that time, the team name was Killer Kid. That's the first name that we gave it. We just came up with that. And then
that's the first name for Arena was Killer Kid.
Killer Kid, that's the first name. And then while we were at Catholic, over the Catholic school here, Sir Clifford Campbell School now, we came up, one junior base, Skinny Bailey, came up with the name. We were looking at name. First name came to us was Nascimento. I said, no, Nascimento is Brazil. So on something. And out of the blues, he came up with the name Reno, and we just said, yeah, I think that's right. And and that's it. That's how we named the club. And we started there. That at the age of first year, we played in the Westmoreland League. We won the league, and we won that for I think probably 25 years continuously. We had never been beaten in that competition. For 25 years, we have won the competition. Of course, the year we were promoted to the Premier League, and from there, I can recall the first match against Santos, we were beaten 6-0. Against Whiplets, I think from Montego Bay defeated us 6-0 again, 2-6-0. And from there, in the return match, we defeated Whiplets, I think 2-1. We drew with Santos. That was a major thing, and we didn't look back from there.
But I want to ask, because you got getting so when did you go to STETHS?
Well, again, no. After leaving South Second, I went to Froome Secondary, continuing, and then from Froome, I went to STETHS.
So all of you moved from all of you and your friends.
I went to STETHS. Robert Andrews went to STETHS. Clive Wedderburn went to STETHS. Desmond Pringle went to Veer. Andre Andrews went to Veer. They were the major ones who gained scholarship to high school at the time. And of course, you know what Andre Andrews did. He won the Costa Cup for Veer. Yeah. As such. And therefore, you know, when we went to STETHS again, that was under the guidance of Oliver Clue, of course. And I can recall
it was like your first official proper coach, Oliver Clue.
Proper coach. I can recall a gentleman who was a former referee, Mr. Royal Lurch, came for us. I can't forget that the license plate of the car, be a Vauxhall car for myself, Andrews, and Wedderburn, BB84. How that's still stuck in my memory.
That's the license plate?
Yeah, that's the license plate. You know, I still recall that BB84 at Vauxhall. And that STETHS, you know, under the guidance of Clue, they're on my skills in terms of footballing, and then after finishing up there, you know.
Did you win the Costa Cup?
No, I didn't win the Costa Cup as players. We went on the first year we were knocked out of the second round, and then we went to the semi-finals and got beaten with the likes of Sweetie Smith. Noah Sterling.
Was that the game that thing there got red card? Spider was red carded, and you had to use a.
Yeah, and Sweetie went into the goal.
Oh, yeah. It was Sweetie went into the goal when Spider was red carded. But for the next game, because Spider always said it's because of the Rossies team where you guys actually lost, because it was a Rossies player, I think, because it was red carded.
A dispute between a player by the name of Azzy. Yeah, I recall. So those some good days at STETHS. Really fine-tune a skill, and at the same time now playing for Reno as such during that time as a schoolboy. Play on a Saturday and play on a Sunday against the top team in Jamaica. And of course we were perennial semi-finalists from the end after the first year. We were semi-finalists, and until we in the 90s we really started to dominate as such as a team with the likes. But the days at STETHS are days were really cherished, and as such after leaving STETHS now, then I went back as a pre-trained teacher, physical education teacher, and then went on to GC Foster College, and then in 83 I finished up GC Foster College, and then I came back at STETHS as a full-time physical education teacher as such, and the rest is history.
Right, so you won how many Costa Cup and Ben Francis you won as a coach while at STETHS? So you can't count.
About the Oliver Shield and the Costa Cup and Ben Francis, endless amount of them. Ben Francis and at least 4 or 5 have been part of all the Costa Cup teams that STETHS have won. We have won the Costa Cup about 5 or 6 times. The memory serves me right. You know,
and I think you got time when you were 5 consecutive years, I think STETHS won Ben Francis Cup.
The Ben Francis Cup. So that is it. As it relates to STETHS itself, regarding that, as it relates to Reno in the 90s, we were a dominant force with the likes of of Jim Dandy, Michael Jim Dandy, Donald Hewitt, Jimmy, Cape Lawrence, Aaron Lawrence, Calvin Valentine, Dennis Hudson, the likes of Raymond Dijob. We have Cecil Pringle, Silla Pringle, those Eastern
Mark Hagler Wilson,
Mark Hagler Wilson. Those are the code name
Edroy Jones,
Edroy Jones, Clifford Smith.
Clifford Smith.
The list can go on and on and on. We were the dominant force.
Yeah, you should not have called any name, because somebody going to call you afterwards and says, I'll be really going to call you, you never call his name.
we have many. We have treasured memories of those days.
Yeah.
As it relates to success.
How much did you play for the national team as a player?
Well, I went into the national team early. George Thompson was the national coach, I think. And I think about 77, 78, I part of the national. But them times I was rural player, I get much of a chance to play like now. And few games we played at the national team play. Sometimes we play probably 3 or 4 games for the year if you play that amount of game. It's not like now when you have a number of games at the international level to participate. And during the Premier League itself, I was voted the most outstanding junior player, most outstanding senior player. So those are some of the success as it relates. And then in 1991, I went 91, went to Germany and did a 6-month course at Leipzig University. And then I came back and been part of the national program. I was the assistant to Coach Carl Brown.
That was the first, 1993 was the first time you were in the national program as a coach.
91,
okay.
Yeah, in the program. And then go on with Coach Carl Brown, we were 3rd place in the Gold Cup. And we go on again as head coach. I've qualified 2 teams for the Youth World Cup, won the Digicel Cup. Those are some of the successes that I've gained.
You qualified an under 17 team 2 times. 2 times you qualified?
Under 17 and under 20.
20, right.
One in Mexico and one in Argentina. Under 20s in Argentina and the under 17 in Mexico.
And you wanted Caribbean?
Yeah, I won the Caribbean Cup, Digicel Cup. Likes of Andy Williams was the captain of that team when we won. Luton Shelton made his debut under my stewardship. I remember when I brought him in, some people were criticizing that you have little boy I wear big man shoes, coach in particular. But I saw something in him, and he has ended up now as our leading goal scorer, all-time goal scorer.
Yeah, I remember in my times, and maybe you're the best person to ask this. Why it appeared, especially during your time, why was it so difficult for Western players to break into the national team, or were there logistical reasons?
Well, at the time, I wouldn't say, I would probably say bias as it relates to rural area, but it wasn't an easy task during our days to get into the national program, because I remember myself, Andred, Desmond Pringle were part of the national team, and if it was based on just our performance, we would be an integral part of the unit. But the coaches see it different, so I can recall once a very, very disappointing one. I was named in a squad to travel to Trinidad for a World Cup qualifying game, and on the night I was told that they have reconsidered after making all the necessary arrangements. We were at camp. I won't call the name of the coaches. And I was told just like that they have reconsidered someone else. And from that, I didn't, I just said, sure, I won't be a part of this national unit again no longer.
Yeah, and what were you were old in your career at that time, or you were still young?
Still young, man. Still young in my career. I just continue representing, I told them that I'm no longer interested in representing Jamaica, because them things went on. So, having gotten an opportunity as a national coach, so therefore I make the ground a level ground as it relates to selection process. Whether you're from the corporate, you're from the rural, you're from overseas, it is based on what you brings to the table. You will be selected.
Yeah. But how difficult was that for you to do now? Now that you became the coach, did it ever cross your mind like, you know what, I need to give the Western players a chance now, and then you
No,
have an
I just say,
overload of Western rural areas? Yeah.
as I said, I just make a level playing field, and it's based on performance, what you brings to the table. I never engage of that bitterness because of that in terms of my selection.
Okay. What would you say is, I mean, in terms of your playing career, the game or the games that you remember the most are they were the most important or significant in your playing career? And I want to ask the same thing about your coaching career.
Well, well, in playing career, I can recall a game we played against Harborview and I think 1970, it was 76, 77 season at Sabina Park. That performance against Bert Robinson stood out quite vividly in my memory. I think that, I played, it was one of my most outstanding, it was it was an outstanding performance. That vividly comes to my memory. And there are others. Well, of course, in the coaching career, winning the Premier League for the first time was a major achievement. When we won the Premier League, because we were knocking on the door so much. 1989 when we won, and then we won it back to back, and then we go on to win 4 Premier League titles. We won the champions of champions, the knockout. And then after that, we had the Caribbean Professional League. We were finalists.
Right.
We had waivers, and then from waivers to CC Lions, and we were finalists. We were beaten by Trinidad club in the finals in Trinidad. So overall, and at that time we had a number of players, rural players from the Western region in the national program. It's likes of Winston Anglin, Tati Brown, you can name. I'm going to the names then. I'm going to just name those two.
Yeah.
You the likes of Aaron Lawrence and Jimmy.
You have to call Hector Wright,
Hector Wright. Yeah, you name them.
Yeah.
Paul T. Davis,
Yeah.
Warren Barrett. You can go along and all those shot Malcolm, they were part of the Western team, they were part of the Caribbean Professional League, and that played a significant role in terms of our preparation during those days. It's because we had 2 teams. We have the Kingston Lions, Carl Brown was in charge of the Kingston Lions. So we have 2 sets of players who were engaged at the international level playing in the Caribbean Professional League. And that played an integral part in terms of preparation of the national team itself. So overall, those days was some glory days relates to football, especially in the Western region.
All right. We normally have a lot of persons with there are a lot of comments, so we normally take comments as they come. So I'm going to take 5 questions from them, and then I get back to some other important stuff that we're going to talk about. The first one is from the person who goes by the name Roberta Badger. Says, "Good night, Mr. Downswell. I want to know what avenue to take to have my 16-year-old son represent Jamaica. He's a standout in the MLS next competition."
Well, what you have to do is send a profile, something on the youngster, and most importantly, must be the holder of a bona fide Jamaican passport in order to represent Jamaica. Once he sends that information to my email, downswell11@yahoo.com, then I will pass that on to the respective coach of the unit itself, and then we take it from there, and then we will communicate with him.
All right. Garfield Person said, "You're one of the best wingers he has ever seen." So,
those were the glory days I playing. I still have fun memories of that. Yeah, I work hard at my craft as it relates to my performance as a winger.
Yeah. All right. And then Delroy Robinson says the Reno team would be considered as the champion of the decade if the English League format was in effect. Was the Reno team that good
Yeah,
for that decade?
yeah, man, there was a dominant team. Yeah, it was probably one of the best team, you know, quality team. Because we have regular semi-finalists, finalists in the competition itself. As you say, if it was a league format, probably would have been the winner on a number of occasions.
Okay, they're asking for the email, um, so I'm going to Robert Ricardo Baggio. I will before the show ends, I'll put the email so you can send it to Mr. Downswell. Mr. Devon Porter says, Coach Downswell, how the national select players locally to represent Jamaica? Is it by performance?
Well, yes, it's done by performance. I would imagine the national coaches, the respective head coaches of the units, whether at the youth level or the senior level, the head coach is the primary person will have responsible for the selection. We, as technical personnel, technical director, and technical committee member, we don't interfere in the selection process. That is done solely by the head coach of the respective unit and assistant coaches.
Yeah. All right, and then we're going to take this final one, and then we're going to come to some others later. Who is the best player you have played with at Reno?
Oh, well, probably, yeah, well, there are three players that readily comes to mind: Andre Andrews, Noel Sweetie Smith, Desmond Pringle. Probably, it, if I could give the edge, I would probably give it to Noel Sweetie. What probably one of the most skillful players I've seen.
Yeah, well, that's what they're saying. Some person say Calvin Valentine, but you never played with Calvin Valentine.
I
You
played a
coached him.
little, about 2 years with Calvin. The last 2 years of my career, I
Is,
played with
is it true that he was one of the he was a fast bowler and he was one of the fastest?
Calvin. A bright prospect for West Indies. He would have
Okay.
been part of the West Indies team. But there was a small. There was a pace bowler by the name of Small during that
Okay.
time. Yeah, for the West Indies. Anyway, Small really went on to. He would have done equally or even better. So.
Okay, so person's asking, the email address is downswell11@yahoo.com. All right, so that's the email. You send a profile of your son, you send it to Mr. Downswell, and from there he will follow up and think. So let me get into some other things. What is your looking at schoolboy football now comparing to your days coaching, your days playing, and the Premier League now? Has it improved? Has it has it improved? Has it not improved? What areas of it still, have fallen down and needs to be, because when you look at Western Jamaica, you don't even see a team from Western Jamaica
Well,
in the Premier League. Uh,
well,
go ahead.
when you look, let me start with the schoolboy competition now. Well, the fact that you have a greater, larger number of teams now participating, because if you look at the Froome, you look at the Godfrey Stewart and others, they were nurseries or feeders to the likes of STETHS and Vera and others. Now they are competing in the competition itself. So what we have seen is that the competition has grown extent that these teams are able to participate. These teams have gone on to win the competition itself. So from that standpoint, we can see significant improvement. Them coming from a secondary school, which was a feeder to it itself. Maybe in terms of the quality of the players now we produce, I could say that yes, we have a large volume of larger number of players going. But back in the 90s and the 80s, I think we had some real super talent coming out. Maybe because of the limited amount of schools that were participating at the time. Because you find that what you found at the time is that now this high volume of quality players were centered around few schools at the time. So the likes of Rossi, STETHS, and others, you find that Veer and you can name it Dintil and the other schools. There you have super talent in those schools. And when you go and watch those games, those not ordinary games, you find in those teams probably 5 or 6 superstars in that team when compared to now presently, as opposed to those teams. So if you look at it, it's a give and go situation as it relates to what you would say is improvement. And it has played a significant role as it relates to, ensuring that a large percentage of the schools are engaged and provide different opportunities for them to participate. One thing I would like to see is that we have some probably categorize the schoolboy teams like that. We have a super league like within the Diaspora Cup itself, because when you look at teams being beaten 10, 15 and such like that, if we are able to categorize that, and then we have like a super cup within the Diaspora Cup, you have probably 2-tier competition, tier 1 and tier 2 competition that would have, really. But of course, as you know, when it relates to football, they see the principals and ISA see that as what we would call a recreation. They see it as recreation, from that standpoint, because they have numerous activities and things.
A lot of persons have had that suggestion that maybe we need to have like Division 1 and Division 2 schools within it, which is what you're saying, so that you can get, probably the best school playing, and then maybe you can do it in terms of you meet certain criteria to get promoted, demoted, kind of a thing.
Promoted and demoted. That would be an ideal competition for them. I would like to see back again the All Diaspora and All Manning competition. Yeah. That is something that I would like, because that has a rich tradition, and most of our youth players came out of between the Manning Cup and Diaspora Cup, the All Diaspora and the All Manning competition. Something that we can bring back on the calendar. I think that would be good for our youth football and schoolboy football.
All right. See, Garfield Pearson is asking, who was a goalkeeper in your time? Clive Wedderburn was a goalkeeper.
Wedderburn.
He was at Reno as well.
He was at Reno at STETHS.
Okay. And then Carlton Cluggy Alexander Farmer, what are the captains? Man, yeah, blessing Coach Doneswell, enough love and respect, boss.
Man, a lot of battle.
Yeah.
At Arena on a Sunday like this, a Jared Park.
Problem.
We are at home.
Yeah. But the other question, because we have many persons in the diaspora in the chat and they have kids, and one of the questions they always ask is why it seems so difficult, especially for those who are in North America, for their kids at 15 and 16 and 17 to kind of break into the national team. They think the pathway is a little bit more difficult for them because they're not in Jamaica than for the kids in Jamaica. How do you talk to those parents and explain the system?
Well, as we see, we have what they do is that they do have a cap, on the number of players from overseas, which is part of the federation selection process at the youth level. So therefore, it wouldn't say it's unfair or it's fair, but that is the policy of the federation. They're giving the local players probably, if at the under 17 level, we look at somewhere at these 4 players or 5 players at the under 17 levels, out of a squad of probably 20 or of 20 itself. And then now at the under 20 level, it goes up. At the seniors, it goes up. It varies from time to time, and that has been a policy of the federation from ever since.
But is it? I ask this question because more and more Jamaicans are having kids in these places. I mean, and I'm talking about first generation kids, meaning like even past footballers. So many of them are living in the States now. And
yes, like, what they can do is that they send Well, it is up to the head coach of the respective unit to decide on the players. Once we are in the World Cup campaign, the coaches will definitely have a look on them. And because from time to time we have seen a number of players who came for trials and been selected as part of the national unit, whether it be under 17 or under 20 itself. And this is something that we're really looking at now, hoping that we'll be able to attract a number of quality young players at a very tender age to start being part of an integral part of the program instead of us waiting until they reach at the senior level. So this is something that we're definitely looking into.
Okay, so let me. The policy is changing, or the policy.
Yeah, we are thinking about it strongly. We're looking at players, probably looking at increasing the numbers as it relates to selection process at the youth level.
Yeah.
The technical
Because
committees.
here's what I'm saying. I can, and I know you know some of these persons. I see Ultimate Butler is also in the chat, right? Ultimate Butler has many Jamaicans over there that he's working with. All right. You have Devon Porter out there in Canada. You have Desmond Gaddafi Smith. He's out there, I think, in Atlanta, somewhere in that area. Paul Young, Andy Williams, Tyrone Marshall. All of these guys are working with young Jamaicans as coaches that can play for Jamaica. And I like what you just said. When they get to the senior level, it's a problem because the integration is difficult. Why not at least give them the opportunity? And if they are good enough, they make it. Instead of saying, listen, we're only taking 5, we're only taking 4. Why not say, listen, let all of you come out and try out. If you're good enough, you make the team. If you're not good enough,
one of the things that we're planning with Indian and is for us, for the national head coach of the respective youth units, to go into North America to look at the players instead of these players coming to Jamaica itself. So this is something that we are discussing. The technical committee is looking into it. As soon as we get the go ahead as it relates to us now starting the preparation itself, this is something that is on the agenda as it relates to the head coach, probably going into go to a central point to look at these players.
Okay, so all right, and also let me say, I would suggest as well that, and this is just a suggestion, why not use some of the persons who are already in the location? Probably give them a criteria, because you're the technical director. You could say, listen, all right, Freddie Butler, Dean Sewell, Paul Young, Ricardo Gardner, Ricardo Fuller. Here are the things that we're looking for at the under 17 level. All right, can you, in the era that you are, find out all of the guys, look at them and select the best out of those, so that your work would be less, instead of, because it may be more difficult for you to travel to all the states in the US to find all the persons.
Well, what we would do for that is collaborate with the respective coaches and probably get them at a central point if it's possible. That is something that I'm thinking about. Well, then again, we could set the criteria and then ask them in terms of selection. Because from time to time, we have gotten calls from coaches in the colleges and the respective areas. Because we have some players now presently at the under 17 and under 20 player on the radar. As soon as we start preparation, we're definitely extending invitation to them, because they have reached out to us from North America.
Yeah, I have a parent here because he has been following. His name is Robert Sanchez, and he has a son that is in the MLS combines and stuff. And he's basically saying, this is why I told my son to leave it alone. You understand? Because he doesn't agree with the cap system, because in his head he's saying that his son will not get an opportunity. But you're saying that
why
right,
his son will not get an opportunity?
Because there's a cap and there are only 4 persons.
And probably he might call him at 4. He's that good.
Okay, well, that's the point too. But he's saying that, listen, he may be better than he may not be better than the 4 that you select, but he may be better than 10 of the other persons.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? So why?
Yeah.
Because these are people who are these are people who are coming in and out of Jamaica. The, so why shouldn't he come on a trial, or exactly what you said? Why shouldn't the system be that the under 20, under 17 goes to Florida and a group of youngsters and they say, hey, these guys are good, these 5 are good, let's give them a call up. You know, could that system actually work? And like you said, probably help so that when we get to the senior level, these players would have already been through the youth system.
Okay. Well, that's
Yeah.
as I said, that is something that we're definitely looking into. And the technical committee is exploring the possibility of making necessary changes.
All right. And then on the local football now, I have this battle every day, coach, with people. Like, who is responsible for developing our talent? Is it the school? Is it clubs? Is it the GFF? Or everybody is involved? And what role who plays? Like, all of these, for the last probably 4 or 5 years, many kids have just left the high school system and we don't hear about them. And we used to brag and boast, oh, this one is so good. And I can give you, there was one that was at Reno. He was at STETHS, the leading goal scorer. And he just left Reno. I don't hear about him again. What his name? Demar Brown? He was a
Yeah.
forward at STETHS. Tall guy, I think. I heard that he was at Waterhouse, but he started
Yeah.
out at, huh?
Yeah, it was started out at Reno and then it moved on.
Yeah.
What is the parish association along with the JFF plays an integral part, especially at the grassroots level in terms of our development. As you know, we run the parish competition, but the primary part of it is the most, if you look at the clubs plays an integral part because and this is something now that we're looking now to at the youth competition and the JFF now looking towards now providing more youth competition, especially starting at the grassroots level. Once we are able to, and just before the COVID, we got a major plan as it relates to the grassroots football itself, starting at the parish level, and then now for us to make the smooth transition into the tier 1 and tier 2 competitions and such that, and elite competitions. So these are things that we have now to roll out as soon as possible. Once we get the go ahead, we will definitely be looking at elite programs wherein we will have because what we intend on doing is using the coaches now at the parish and zone level to be an integral part. And then that is why now we're going through the pathway now of certifying our coaches now more readily. And once we are able to do that, then, with what we have here now, that we have people who will be in charge of the respective um, confeds, coaches responsible for the confed. So at the confed level, we start have some confed festivals and such, having the elite players engage. We have the dormitory now at the JFF, so therefore that will play an integral part in terms of accommodation for these respective units because, as you know, it's a costly venture when we don't have that facility. But the fact that now we have the facility, that will play a very important role in terms of accommodation. And we'll be able to host our elite talent. Because we definitely going to look at that both at the under 15 level, under 17 level for them to make the transition.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. All right. So that's very important to know. So those are steps in the right directions because we have to do that. So the other question then is, and just going back to 1998, though we can't do all the things that were done there, right? But I remember when the national team would go around and travel, you'd have the senior team, I think the under 23 and under 20. Sometimes they would have camps together. All right. I mean, I know we have a campaign now. We just brought a whole set of other guys to Peru, and there's a next set coming through the Costa Cup system, and those who are overseas all over in England and in Canada. All right. Is there any plans to have like camps to have the same progression through the ranks with some of these youth players? selecting some players from the Diaspora Cup and the Manning Cup, have an under-20 camp where they come in 2 and 3 days and let the GFF focus on developing the best talents, and then they go back to their clubs and play. Like what
And
used to happen.
that's why I say that, we're looking at the elite category of players. One, it's starting from the under 15 level right up to the under 17 level, because these are international competitions, and therefore when I say that, we have the dormitory, JFF dormitory, that will play an integral part in that. So we'll definitely be looking at these players. Based on the players who went to Peru, this is part and parcel of the campaign starting for 2026. So you will see a number of young players who will be knocking on the door at the senior level. The coach will be looking at these players, and therefore for them now to be an integral part from the under 20, under 17, and the Olympic squad itself. Because as you know, what's challenge that we have just now is that the under 20, the Olympic squad won't be engaged in the Olympic qualifiers, because based on the performance of the under 20s, that will determine whether or not you will be part of the Olympic qualifiers. So based on the performance at the under 20 level, so that may be a little setback for us. So we have to look now at getting players, especially those who are above under 20 itself, to be engaged internationally. We'll probably look at getting games in the Eastern Caribbean as such for the under 21 squad. It's hoping that we will have the Pan Am games, and we'll have such, maybe the only one we would have now for the under 21s presently. And then what you could do is have them play against even the Premier League clubs when we have them on a regular basis.
All right. So let me see if I get that. To qualify for the Olympic qualifiers, FIFA looks at your under 20 performance. Okay. So when next do the under 20 play?
Well, the under 20, they will engage. They will start in sometime this year, somewhere in June. We are planning now to start the preparation itself. Somewhere, remember, Mr. Right, in June we'll start they will start their qualifiers.
Okay. So there's no under 23 competition.
No, presently. Apart from, might have the Pan Am Games itself as under 21.
Okay. And if you do well there, it could advance your position to play the Olympic qualifiers.
No, they don't generally. FIFA now stipulate that they will use the under 20.
Okay, so that means we must assemble our best under 20 players.
Yeah, we best under 20 squad.
And that is in June of this year.
Probably June of this year.
All right. So this now brings me back, because given what we have seen in Manning Cup and Diaspora Cup, and this is where now persons are coming back to what we said earlier, is that the best Jamaicans should play, regardless of where you're born. So if there's a player in England that like Dean Burton's son, I just given an example, who is a 16-year-old centre back at West Brom. He's one. If he's good enough, he should come and play. There's a Matthew Baker who from PSL who just went to Germany. He's in Germany now on trial. You have again a whole set of them in the United States that wants to come and represent Jamaica, right? I think because playing the Olympic qualifiers is so much dependent on the under 20, is that we should find a way of engaging all of these players, and of course select the best, because the local players may be better, but at least give the others an opportunity so that
the coach will definitely be doing that at the under 20 level, because we recognize that for the last 2 years. Because if you look especially at the under 20 level, these players, because under 20, a number of these players are integral part of their national senior unit.
Exactly.
So when we competing, when we look at a truncated high school competition, the Costa Cup and Manning Cup competition, and for these players to compete at the international level, probably some of them might find wanting as it is. So we have to now look now, especially overseas, at the best possible talent that we can get now to ensure that we have the best set of players for the under 20 unit going to the qualifiers. And the JFF, the technical committee, we have been looking into that, and therefore, we will, as soon as possible, start launch out everything as it relates to the preparation of the unit itself. So therefore, we will look at including these individuals if they have interest, because first and foremost.
Well, this is what people are, because there are actually persons in the chat, who have kids who want to, who they are Jamaicans who want. So I'm going to put up your number again. You understand me, for them to send the profiles to you, because everybody believe that their son is a star. That's just how football is. So at the day, everybody, yeah. But they should get the opportunity. I think every time persons hear the quota, and I kind of feel the same way, because my son's in Jamaica but of American citizenship, right? If they are playing in the leagues over there, I don't want to hear that, listen, there's a quota system and it's too late to have it. What I want to hear is that he came, he tried out, and you have better quality players. And I'm saying that, Mr. Downswell, because when I look at our Manning Cup and the Costa Cup, where we get most of the players from for our under 20, a lot of times when they go up against international competition, they struggle.
But
except for the ones who probably play Premier League and
because if you look at the last under 20 squad that we just missed out on qualifying,
yeah,
a high percentage of these players came out of the Premier League, because the first place that we went into the Premier League itself and to find out all the players who were eligible to compete at the under 20 level. Presently, we have 27 players out of the last Premier League who are eligible to be a part of the under 20 team, and that is the elite set of players that we have competing in the Premier League. Now we have the schoolboy competition just finished, so therefore now we find that the pool may will increase, and hopefully some of these players will get an opportunity to be part of the respective Premier League clubs, and so they will be able to showcase their talent. So we have those in the Premier League, we have the schoolboy, and we have the ones from overseas. Yeah. So that is the cadre players that we do the necessary selection from.
All right, so I want to speak to the people. A solution has been offered. Send the profile, right? And then let the test be done, right? And if they are better, they are going to be in the team. But they have to be better. So send the profile, you got the email address, that is the word. Don't focus on the quota system. Focus on getting the profile in, and that child, that 19, that 18-year-old, let him come and prove that he's better, or when the coaches come in the particular location, they see that as well. Yeah. What is your overall role, Coach Doneswell, technical director? As technical director, what does it entails? And
before you go into that, let me just give for the under 20, they must be January 2003 born.
January
2003 for under 20.
Okay.
Under 17, January 2006.
All right. January 2006, and this is for under 17.
Under 17, under 20. The same thing goes for the under 17 female, 205 born, and under 20, 203 born.
All right. So if you want to play under 20, you have to be born after January 2003 to qualify. If you want to
Yeah,
play under
yeah, January.
17, you have to be born January 2006, after January 2006,
Yeah.
right? Well, and that is whether it's male or female. It
No,
applies.
it applies.
Oh, it don't apply.
Let me see, under, we can look again. Under 17 men 206 January. Yeah. Under
Yeah.
20 men 203. Yeah. Under 17 women 205. Under 20 women 203 January.
Okay.
So from
445.
January, from your born January, anything before January 2000, anything in 2002 will not be eligible.
Okay. So, all right. So if you're under 17, if you want to make the Jamaica under 17, you have to be born after January 2006. If you want to be a part of the under 20 male team, you have to be born after January 2003. On the female side, if you want to play in the under 17, you have to born after January 2005, right? And for the under 20 women, you have to be born after January 2003. Those are the dates that you need to have, people. All right. What is your overall function as technical director? And does that include creating a system of play throughout the national program? Or that is the head coach job?
Merely the head coach job. We work alongside the head coach because, as you know, the national senior team, there's we would say, everything is done in such a way that it moves into the national senior unit itself, both male and female. So all the youth teams, what we want to do now is have that unit now working with the national senior team philosophy, bringing it down to the Olympic, the under 20 and the under 23. So we would then now have a chain reaction as it is. So the team below prepares for the team above, and that is the pathway now that we are taking regarding the units itself. So starting at the youth level, we're under 15, under 17, under 20, Olympic squad and senior team. Everything envelops into the national senior unit itself as part of the whole preparation going forward. So this is what we're looking for. And then and that is why now we have at the parish level we're looking at the parish coaches now. So once we are able to get these at the primary school level, because it is difficult to, it's not an easy task to get all the coaches, all the respective teams, especially at the Premier League level now, to buy into your a national philosophy. So what we want to do is starting at the youth level. Once we can get the parish association, the youth at the youth level, and buy that in, we'll get it. We have coaches now at the D license level that we are starting with, because we realize that we have a number of coaches, especially at primary school level and the youth level, that are not certified. So we have started. If it wasn't for COVID, would have probably certified at least within the last 2 years, would have certified at least all the coaches at the primary school level. We have at least 1,000 coaches qualified. We have started the B license. We have just started now. We have one. We should have had 3. We start with 2, one in St. Catherine and one in St. James. And then we'll be going to all the respective parishes and certifying these coaches at the D license level. So once we can get that common vision at the D license level, starting at the primary school level, then we can buy into the whole philosophy as it relates to how that now projects into the national senior unit itself.
Have we ever had that as a nation, though? Have we ever had a system of play that is consistent in the program?
No, we had never have a system of play. I remember in 1998 we came close because our under 20 and under 17 unit, when we qualified 99, We qualified out, and then that unit went on to, I think, a little later when they become the under 20 day, that you and number of those players went on to qualify for the under 20 World Cup, which I was part of it. From the 1998, we have a number of players who made the transition 70, the Olympic, and a number of the under 23 players made that transition into the 19, the likes of Onandelo, and
Fabian Davis,
Fabian Davis and others, Gregory Messam.
Christopher
They were,
Daw.
they were part of the under 23 unit who made that transition into that World Cup. Campbell, Winston Griffiths, and others. So, therefore, this is something now we're looking at now, that once we can have those the Olympic players, under 20 players knocking on the door of the national senior team, that will play an integral role in terms of getting something like that.
Why have we always had, and I mean, how are you addressing that as a technical director? Because you managed a under 17 and an under 20 team to the World Cup. Most of those players never transition to the senior team.
Well,
Like, what
well,
what is the cause? I mean, remember we went to an under 17 World Cup that Pogba was at, and Kirk Zuma, and
yes, we remember. We drew
yeah,
with
with
France.
France, with Kirk Zuma, and I think Kirk Zuma and Varane, I think his name was there. Rafael Varane was in that team. I
Yeah,
think, right? Those guys are playing at Manchester United and West Ham now. Some of the Jamaicans can even make a Premier League team in Jamaica.
what it comes down again to, the whole selection process from the superior national coach, both at the Olympic level and the senior, whether they've see, because not many, especially if you look, you will see some of these players making a transition into their respective program, and that again comes down to the quality of the league that they have, the level of preparation as it relates to the academies that they have, so they are able to readily get that playing on a regular basis at a competitive level. That makes a major difference in terms of players really making the transition into their respective national units and into the major clubs itself. And that is something that we now have to provide. So once we can get now our Premier League now, because up to this point, since 1998, we have not gotten our Premier League up to a professional level. And once we're still operating as amateur, not many of the kids, and it is one when they go through the national, through the high school, the parents probably send them on to go on to university, and then after university, that's it. Many of them, because it's not I wouldn't say a career, so to speak, in Jamaica in terms of football. So maybe that is one of the major setbacks for us. We don't have seen most of the talent really making the transition into the national senior team and into quality teams overseas. So,
Yeah, that's a very interesting thought, because one of the things that I've also heard raised on these platforms is one of the difficulty in probably getting the league to be professional is that there are so many teams in a small space. For example, in Montego Bay has a Wadada Seba Valet Kickers, no Mobile United, a Falkland, all of those teams. Is it a case where we need to, in smaller places like in Westmoreland, instead of trying to have
three,
five,
four
four,
teams.
yeah,
Yeah,
have like a Westmoreland FC as just this, you don't have to be named that way, but where you have and the rest of clubs becomes feeder clubs for that.
because if you look, if a classic example is Reno in Westmoreland. If you look, Reno was the centerpiece as it relates to players going to a club itself, and that's why one of the reasons that we were one of the dominant force, because the superior talent then moved on to Reno itself, coming out of the junior level into a club that is organized and properly structured itself. So if we look at probably limiting the number of clubs, I think we have a better pool of players to select from
Yeah.
in terms of the whole professionalizing it.
Yeah. What is the reason for some of these like a decision? You know, as a technical director, I mean, I know you're a forward thinker, very progressive in your thinking in terms of football. I mean, when people sit down and listen to you, it's a lot of information. So for so long, these things, like I said, have been out there. If you have 20 teams in Westmoreland, it's obviously the talent is going to be so scattered that none of the teams are going to be high quality. That's just the reality,
Great.
right? Um, why haven't this dialogue been at the forefront of the major stakeholders in the football, in the parishes, to bring the change that is necessary to professionalize football at the parish level?
Yes, we have tried, and as you know, it's not such an easy task because again, if you look again, one of the major thing is that the whole community outreach programs that they have in the respective parishes. I think football plays an integral role in terms of uniting individuals. So that is something that we would say continues to be a very important piece as it relates to socializing individuals, bringing the communities together. Yeah, so people are somewhat reluctant to pull away from having just one major team or two or three major teams within the respective parishes. It's not such an easy task.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'd love to see that. I think, like I said to someone recently, but let me just read this comment. I'm going to take some more comment. This person, Peter Check and Alain Whitaker, played in the same under 20 World Cup, but after the
Yeah.
World Cup, look where both of them ended up. That's the
Yeah.
thing.
And Alain Whitaker was named in that 20-man squad for that World Cup. He was the number one goalkeeper.
For Jamaica.
No, the
I,
World Cup squad.
he he was named in the World Cup squad
Yeah,
at
the
the end of
under
the World
20.
Cup,
Yeah, he was part of
and he couldn't make this Jamaica team.
it.
All right. Let me just David. I mean, listen. All right. I know your frustration because apparently you have a child that you want to represent Jamaica. Understand the frustration, but Coach Doneswell has said email the profile and the information, and he will do. So I'm asking you to take that step and see. And if it don't work, then you have a legitimate complaint. But you have to at least use the open opportunity. He has put it out there, so jump on it and see what happens. Yes, I mean, um, yeah. So, the national program. I know you guys are doing a lot of coaching courses all across right now, but the national program itself is in a little bit of uh, a difficulty, as we don't know where the campaign coach has been changed and stuff like that. I mean, what are the prospects um going forward in terms of um the national team? Is it
Well,
is it
what we have to
I'm
do
going
is
to quit
we have to
because
just remain
yeah.
optimistic with the new coach and hope that the upcoming games, the one against Mexico, and then we have likes of Panama, we have Canada and others that we can get some positive results regarding that and continue along the campaign. If not, we are not there. We use the remaining games now to start the preparation for 2026. That is what we have to do as it relates to our program itself, because we expect that we would be in the top three, top four now at this stage of the competition. We are in at sixth position now relates to it, and with an enormous task ahead. We are still upbeat and really looking forward that against Mexico we can get a positive result and take it from there.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. So you still believe that it is possible.
It is possible.
All right. How important how important is qualifying for the World Cup?
Oh
For
gosh, that a lot of international, always youth units, just about everything centered around qualifying for the World Cup. That will be a major spin for us in terms of our youth football, world development, professional football. As such, a lot of things hinge on us qualifying for the World Cup. And that's why it's so important that we qualify and with the quality of the players that we have presently. You know, at the outset, I was so upbeat and optimistic, very optimistic that we would have qualified for the World Cup itself. Because I thought, in my opinion, we start the campaign with some quality players, probably the best set of players that we have started our campaign with. I recall in 1998, it was when Burton and the others came in, Paul Hall, Dean Burton, and others,
Troy Simpson,
Troy Simpson.
Robbie Earl.
And Robbie Earl came at a later stage.
I mean, he came with them at the same time. All four of them came at the same time.
He came a little later.
Okay.
Those three was an integral part of it. And then he joined us in a later stage. So once this is probably the best set of players that we have started the campaign with. And I was very, very, very optimistic about us qualifying.
Yeah.
But this is part of it. We are in a position now where we have to dig deep to see how best we can come out and keep the dream alive.
I have this from you will know this person very well. His name is Travis Peso.
Yeah.
You must know that name. He says, I must ask you, why we selected a 23-man squad while the other teams pick 28 and 30 men squad, because it's 3 games in this window, quick turnaround. So why we only selected 23 when the Mexico, the Panama, Costa Rica, they all selected 28 to 30 players?
Well, I would have to dig deep into that to find out what's our real rationale compared to them. Because this is something probably we have to look into and see. In terms of the selection process, maybe I don't know if it's from a financial standpoint. What is it in terms of the players and that we have selected 23, or is it that the coach comfortable with 23 players? It's all a different logistics regarding that. That is something I would like to check out and find out, get some information late into it.
Okay. All right. Let me just read this one. David, you know that I'm not going to agree with you. I said, my kid is not playing for Jamaica under this JFF. Sorry. Wouldn't do that to him. All right. Your kid is representing Jamaica, because you were asking all the question about to get him in, and now we have opened up the door for him to come in, and then you say that, well, he's not going to play for Jamaica. So what can I say? Question, Mr. Downswell, how much work has been done or being done to prepare for the upcoming matches in terms of analyzing the opponent or the opposition?
Well, we have an analyst who goes through that way along with the head coach, and that has been Sanford. That has been done as it relates to the teams itself. They've been doing their due diligence as it relates to that.
Okay. How would you? I want to segue a little bit from the national program, because a lot of questions are, because I am very disheartened with what has happened with Westmoreland football at the senior level. At least the schools, Frome did well this year, Petersfield, Mannings did well. And there have been players from Western Jamaica, from Westmoreland. Me too is at JCA. The coach up there is a coach who was at Frome, Davian Ferguson. And so you have players, I think Tavar Thomas is at Cavaliers. So you have a couple of them. But what has led to this decline in Westmoreland football from the from what we experienced in the 1990s early? Yes.
Well, one of them is a major We have the nurseries, and we've been performing. It's not just Westmoreland, it's both St. James and Westmoreland. Fortunately, um, MBU get an opportunity now, and they're now back in the Premier League itself. So that is a good representation of the West itself. If we look at the clubs in the Western region, in terms of one, could be in terms of real quality sponsorship that we have, as opposed to especially the corporate area teams. That is one of them, one of the major setback for us in terms of quality sponsorship, that we are not able to really garner in the West, in the Western region itself. So that is one of the major setback for us. We have been producing talent, and there's no doubt. I think, with the advent of COVID, it was a major setback for us, because we were looking now at having teams, because in the Premier League itself, based on how we set the trend now, with COVID itself now, to garner the level of sponsorship now, it's not an easy task, especially for the rural area teams. We have been trying to gain that level of sponsorship and partnership with corporate Jamaica, corporate entities within the region, and hopefully that we are able to get that some support as it relates to that, to really bring back the football itself, because as you know, that plays an integral part.
Yeah, hurry and plug it in before the battery die. Okay, which is true, but how was the club structures? Because were they individually led clubs, and that led to the demise, or
Yeah,
and
most of the clubs were individually led in their time, because as you know, Bim Williams played an integral part in that. Jean Green, Montego Bay. You can go along Vassal and others, regarding Seba and the other teams in the region. So they were centered mainly around an individual. And maybe had we put the proper structure in place at that time, maybe, we would have be more competitive now, just now, had we had that structure in place at that time.
yeah. All right. So here, because what has happened to Frome? That's a historical place in Westmoreland for real. All right. I hear that the condition, it's in shocking condition,
Yes, it
right?
is in shocking condition, because one, since the COVID, to really maintain it, it's not an easy task. So just recently we did some work up there, did some cleaning as it relates to the pitch itself. And it's just for us as a club, we have to start aboard the cost as it relates to doing that, and it's not an easy task for us. We've been appealing to government agencies and others, and the kind of support, we're not getting that kind of support as it relates to that.
Okay. All right. So I know this is going to be tough for you because you probably have 100 names, but who are some of the players that you really enjoyed coaching? Like they were a joy to coach. Like, yeah. I mean, you can't call Dean Folks, right?
You well, the 90s, the teams and the players in the Agla Wilson and the others, then 1990, I can recall, we were in the finals of the Premier League itself, and we were up against Arnett Garden. And tactically, Arnett Garden was a much younger team than us, youthful team. The Byron Earls and the others, them the youthful.
Herbert Richards and all of those guys.
We contained them for the first 45 minutes at nil. And Donald Hewitt and Cecil Pringle, and myself and Boys Nicholson came into the changing room itself. And they said to us, Coach, you don't have to say nothing more to me, Coach. You're nothing more, you don't have to say to me, You play your coaches, you play your part, 2-0, we won the final, in Kingston. Coach, we know exactly what to go there and do. We don't work out everything already.
Yeah.
So, when you have players like those, making those decisions and can analyze, is a joy to the Valentine and the Cable Donalds and them. Those are players who quite Cecil Pringle as a leader on the pitch. These are players who really Clive Richards, who played probably in Birdie, playing just about every game that Reno played. Never
Linval Wilson.
Linval Pala Wilson, and those are some Trojans that we really have.
Yeah. What about outside arena players that you have worked with? Because there's a player that tell me that you're the only coach in the national team setup that has ever told him what to do.
Hell no.
But I'm not going to tell him name until we hear your call. So,
Why you calling names them? It's not so easy because coming at the youth level, so many of them that you brought up through the youth level. Or Nandilo is one of them personally that stood out. He was a no nonsense type of player. And really committed to what him do, especially at the youth level. Believe me, when he played at under 23 level, we were able to we just missed out on qualifying for the Olympic itself, I think by a point or two.
Yeah, Andy Williams just said captain that team.
Yeah, Andy Williams. No, Fabian Davis captain.
Fabian Davis, yeah.
Fabian Davis. It was the Andy Williams captain the Digital Cup team when we won the Digital Cup.
Okay. So Anandi Lewis won. And anyone else?
Why? A number of them at that level. At that level, if it's single.
Let me give you a player who tell me that, in the national program, he said that, listen, one coach that when I was in training, he would come and tell me what to do. Others would let me go and play, and then them say me not doing this and this. The player name.
Oh, I know who you are. Jeremy and you.
Jeremy and you.
I remember when I brought Jeremy and you in that team that went around the same time he got a contract in the States, I think. And I gave him the responsibility and tell him that Jeremy, now your role on the pitch, I'll give you a free role. You have a license to do anything, especially now. I know defensively I'm not going to get that from you. Once you can track back. But if you're not producing in terms of the offensive part, you know what you do. You come sit right beside me. So you have that freedom and that luxury to do. And believe you me, the quality football that he played in the competition, the best we have gotten out of him. And in the Gold Cup again, because I remember after the Gold Cup, he got a contract to play in the States with one of them clubs.
How good was he?
A magician. Offensively, you just give him that free role and freedom to express himself, and you get the best out of him.
Or do you rate like the ability of like players like Calvin Valentine or like a Hector Wright or some other players in terms of passing the ball?
But Victor Wright and Valentine was no ordinary individuals in terms of passing and finishing as midfielders. When you go to a Jared Park and you come to a room on a Sunday and watch them when they play, up rubbing shoulders on a Sunday evening like this or a Sunday night like this, wow, place on fire.
Yes, on fire, yeah.
Oh, blaze on fire. But when you leave games like those, you have a lot to talk about. Quality, both from your team's perspective and the others.
All right, our big one for you. So Mark Hagler Wilson, right? I know that Rene Simoes had a problem with him because of how he plays. You were his coach for so many years. Couldn't you have, seeing that Simoes wanted him to play differently? Couldn't you have coached him in such a way? Because
boy, we tried with him enough to calm him enough, but Hagler was just Hagler. Hagler was just Hagler. It was difficult to change his style or to get him to do otherwise than what he does. Because if the right of him zone as it relates to what he does. He get success with it, so
yeah.
As you know, the Brazilians, them really love them kind of type of player. They love players like Tati Brown who pass it round and
Yeah.
and others around at the back there, something, and Rudy Dixon, and them were more steady like that. But Hagler was a nonsense man. Carl Brownie love him.
Yes, Calbron. And what's his name? Is Donovan Panton.
Yeah,
Those were the roughest defenders in them time, you know.
yeah,
And Gaddafi
and Gaddafi.
and Terminator. But I mean, Pesse is asking if Clive Birdie Richards have ever gotten a red card for Arena in all his years of
Never,
playing.
never, never, never miss arena game.
Never,
Never miss a game. Play from
not
him
even
come
a
here,
yellow card.
not even a yellow card. Me don't remember him getting a yellow card.
Wow, wow, that is interesting. But what about goalkeepers? I mean, you have worked with Spider, you have worked with Loxley Reed, you have worked with
Yeah,
Aaron Well Lawrence. I think Creature was there as well. Was it Creature or Fire?
yeah, well, fire.
Yeah, I
Super
mean,
talented. That one, that boy would go on to big things if he never migrate.
who Fire?
Fire, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Fitzroy Reddicks.
Fits already from Mannings, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, but talk to me. I mean, how good was Spider, Weatherbird, and Aaron Lawrence?
Spider and Iran the cut above. Oh gosh. Iran is about Spider. Spider was a real, or I say a real entertainer. Yeah, people would journey to watch Spider keep as opposed to the other. Not even say Iran, no disrespect to Iran in terms of that, but style and thing, people will gravitate. You know, Iran went to the World Cup, you know, so and got the highest level and kept well at that level. So in terms of that, you know, but if you look on somebody with style and things,
Yeah,
Spider.
yeah, man. All right. In terms, so we asking who you say like when they talk about clinical forward. If you want a goal, this is a forward you're going to trust. Like I know that you know, I'm going to pick the team right now. This is a forward I'm going to.
The Reno team.
I don't know which team you're picking, but just tell me
Yeah,
you're picking the
I
all
think
star.
the
You're
Reno
picking the
team.
all. No man,
Reno,
I'm saying that you're picking the Wendell Downswell all time 11. You
oh
understand
God,
me?
oh God, I forget sometimes. Readily for Reno, the two top goal scorers, Andre Andrews and Cape Donaldson comes to mind.
Okay, and then
And
probably
those are,
Jim Dandy right behind them.
and Jim Dandy right behind them. And then to Jim Dandy and Andre Andrews, Jim Dandy, those are the top three.
Okay, okay. No, I mean, but what about other? Because you're a coach and you have your arena
But
team. Who are some?
He got Davis too, you know, deadly.
Yeah, yeah.
He got
Tiga.
Davis.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Like outside the arena players, who are some of the when Reno going up against these forwards or defenders or midfielders?
Yeah.
You know that. Listen,
You know,
the midfield have to be on the top.
in a midfield Hector Wright, Winston Anglin. You know, when we come against the Tatty Brown, calm and cool and composed. Yeah, those are players, and you have, and in terms of quality midfielders, yes, the likes of Hector Wright, the likes of Winston Anglin, them two readily comes to mind because in terms of consistency over the years, they demonstrate that. Noah Sterling again,
Yeah.
coming back from that them time in terms of consistency.
What about up the line in like Kingston and because those times you had Hazard and Galaxy that you had to go up against.
Well, you know the Walter Boy, you know. Walter Boy, ordinary. Walter Boy, Blacker Boy, was no ordinary talent in terms of superior talent. Probably one of the better we have seen in my time. Yeah, it's just that why we just they had expecting to really kick on and move on to big things.
Yeah, man. So when you decide, you know what, this is it, this is quits, I'm done with football. Where would you want to see Jamaica's football at that time? at
What right now?
coaching
Right now,
across Jamaica and the
coaching across, want we be able to develop the quality of our coaches, to really at our level, starting up from the grassroots level up, that we have qualified and certified coaches that will be able to start use that as a vehicle, use them as a vehicle to really propel the football, consistently qualifying for the youth under 17, under 20, and Olympic, and ultimately us going back to the World Cup itself at the senior level, because since 1998, that has been eluding us as it relates to us qualifying for the World Cup itself. So that is one of the dream I want to see, the pathway that our coaches can really develop, both at this grassroots level up to the high school, go right up to the Premier League orders. That we have them quality coaches that can move the football. We have started the process, and I think we are moving in the right direction in terms of us now getting some real certified, qualified coaches going forward. We can see the improvement in terms of the high school competition itself. And therefore, once we are able to continue along the trend, provide opportunities for some of these coaches to go overseas, have a look at different areas as it relates to football, and can come back and impart the knowledge regarding football itself. These are quality things I would like to see happen.
Okay, these are the things that when you walk away, you want to see those
Yeah.
things happening. All right, that is awesome. That is awesome. Listen, again, I mean, the wealth of knowledge. You have a hope that, at least in Westmoreland, I can't wait to see Westmoreland's football, get back to where it was and beyond that. I mean, I'm talking because during my time, you had people like Patrick Graham. I mean, as a youngster coming through, and all of these guys, and I mean, so much talent passed through the parish. See him, Evan Taylor. I remember the remarks, I think, of Rene Simoes when he first saw him. You know, all of these, O'Brien Woodbine. I mean, Delano Rankin. I mean, all of these talents just. So I hope that you can put things in place. To probably capture some of these Mannings and Froome players and Petersfield players now, that they don't just end up like drifting out of the sport, but that there's a Westmoreland, there's a plan now that the Dakar Cup is over. That, all right, listen, let's keep a Westmoreland youth camp and let us train at Landale for a couple of days and release them. Whether they're under 17, let's bring the best players from all the high schools together 2 days a week and work with them and see if we can, yeah. So I challenge you. But I know you're tired. I know you had a coaching course today, and I mean it's getting late in the night now. But very, very delighted that I've had the opportunity to talk to you. I mean, there's so much more. People will never get into the deeper details, because people share how every game went that they played in high school, all of the games, because there are so many things. People used to tell me how you used to go to fields in Kingston and not go and call the name of the field, and man would look and see you run down the flank, and them not see a car crowd pull you gone and all of them things. I heard some stories that goalkeeper could have been goal and all of those things. But we haven't spoken about some of these things. But I'm very, very delighted that you came on to speak with us today, to kind of share just a small part of your whole journey. So I want to say a big thank you to you again, Coach Downswell. I mean, for even your role in developing me as a young footballer. And I always tell people I've had the privilege of being coached by some of the best in Jamaica. So I just wanted to conclude by sharing with everyone again the contact information, the email information, and the age, the birth time for the different age groups, and how they can now contact you.
All right. So
Like
for the
that, right.
under 20s, That is 203, January 203. And for the under 17, 206. That is for the male. For the women's under 20, January 203. And for the under 17 ladies, 205.
Okay.
January 205. And then it's just Downswell 11 at yahoo.com.
Downswell, let me put that in again. So this is for persons who have, you have a son or a daughter that you'd like to be seen. You believe they are good enough to represent Jamaica. Listen, I know sometimes you have had bad experiences, but now you have an opportunity, and the opportunity is now. Coach Doneswell has come on and he says, send the profile info. Send the profile info to this email. They will look at it, right? So go ahead and do that, and then if you don't get any feedback, you can talk to me, and I'll do some follow up. But I know you will get some feedback, and the under 20 camp will be the under 20 starts sometime in June, so it's probably
I think June 18 to the 23rd, if my memory serves me right.
That's the time of the competition.
Yeah, the competition.
But preparation then would probably start after Easter during that time.
To start by next month we start in preparation. We're looking at
right. So by February. So all of you have under 20 persons out there. So Robert Sanchez, listen, here it is. Freddie Butler, those under 20s you have. And Mr. Gaddafi, Desmond Gaddafi Smith, those under 20s you have. Devon Porter, I mean, the under 20s, the players that you said they're at Arsenal and Tottenham want to come and try out for Jamaica. Yeah. Let us know. Yeah. And get through to them. Again, thank you again, coach.
Yes.
Yeah, no, will you be on the bench again? Because we notice you're on the bench in Peru.
There was down with the COVID.
Oh, okay. He never had any COVID, man. He was at the Diaspora Cup finals.
But before we leave, he had the COVID.
Before, yeah. But there were two notable absentees though in the squad. Mr. Watson, who played in the last game, and Mr. Grant.
Well, it's up to the coach. The coach made the selection as it relates to.
Isn't the technical committee? The technical committee don't select.
No. We don't involve in selection. That's the responsibility of the head coach.
So even for that practice game in Peru, Paul.
Yeah, the coach selects the players.
So how did he know? Devante Camp?
But he have an assistant coach.
But the assistant coach had COVID, according to you.
But they must interact before.
Okay.
Interact on phone.
Okay. Also, it is. Listen,
it's a responsibility, not the technical committee, who selects players. We provide the necessary things to ensure that the coaches can carry out their duties in a very effective way. So all the necessary things, the masseur, the whatever, the analysts and all those things, that is what we ensure that we provide the coach with the necessary tool to perform.
All right.
Our responsibility, not selection. Sometimes them say speed I interfere, selection process and all and things. I don't have nothing to do with that.
I think the problem people have with Mr. Speed is that he's a part of the technical committee, but he is on the Cavaliers bench coaching. And so I think what people are saying is that it is a conflict of interest, because the idea is at the end of the day, if 10 players get selected from Cavaliers, even if they are the best, here's what people are going to say. It is because he's part of the technical committee, even if it is not so. So it
doesn't involve in selection.
No, I know, but you understand the perception.
Yeah, I understand the perception.
If you are the coach, and they say 4 Reno players on it, what are they? And they know your coach Reno. What are they going to say? That's what used to happen to Carl Brown. People used to say that the reason why the Boystone players are in the national team is because of Carl Brown.
But Carl
Even
Brown,
if it is not so. it's just a thing. So sometimes you have to just remove that that perception from people. I think that is the issue, with um
But the technical committee doesn't select players.
yeah.
Has
But you know what
nothing to
this
do
gonna
with
do,
players.
Mr. Downs? This is some of the things I can understand. Like Richard King, I thought was one of the better players in the game. All right. A youngster goes there, plays well. But don't
Yeah,
get selected to this squad.
but maybe at the position, I don't know, the coach might say,
I think he's a 24th player for the experience. Like, how do I recover from getting rave reviews and then I am dropped, basically. I'd rather be in there as like a little squad player and know that I'm still in the squad. Like I said, I don't think it would hurt if he was called to train, you know?
but I think the coach will be looking at some other players, you're gonna have some French players in the training.
Okay, okay.
He definitely be having at least two, I think, because he mentioned something about having have some youth players under his wing.
Yeah, I think that would be good. Like Richard King
Not
would
to
play
be
pro.
rubbing shoulders with
Yeah.
the senior person. Something like that is in the making. I'm
Oh,
absolutely certain because I already mentioned something like of that nature.
like him. Make football stress it. Dan Danny B right says, coach no age at all. Look like him no make football stress him out. Yeah, the man look the same. Listen, it's seriously, from I what 10 years old until now, or probably 10 or 11. It's the same way. Nothing has changed. Not one gray hair. I've never seen a gray hair. And this man probably see him. If belly don't get big, like tell is the same build. Nothing has changed. You understand me? So, man in good health. No stress. He's getting a lot of sleep and no stress. So, blessings again. Yeah, man. All right, coach. Thank you so
Man,
much.
it
And
was a pleasure, man. It was really a pleasure being on the program.
yes.
And to all the viewers and listeners, all the best for the new year. And we are looking forward. Those who have their kids out there, despite what happened, you can get them to represent the country. We'll look at the best the coaches. We'll do the selection process as it relates to that, especially at the youth level. And hoping that, we'll be able to qualify for another youth tournament, both from a female and male perspective, as it is for them now to transition now into the respective national units at the senior level. Hope that Jamaica's football, that we can be proud watching it, expressing ourselves as it relates to football itself in Jamaica.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
man.
by extension globally.
Yeah. All right, with you at the helm, we have a lot of faith and confidence. So let's see what will happen. Again, thank you so much, and all the best to you and
Yeah,
your
man.
family. And again, it's my pleasure, and thank you for all the work in Westmoreland. I'm telling you, it's a lot of work over the years, and I know sometimes people don't get the due reward, but persons like you should be recognized and honored. And I keep saying that every time I interview the people from out west and all over, that it is full time now. We start giving recognition to people who have made great impact, you know, um, in the sport of football across Jamaica and the parish. Mr. Everton Tomlinson, this is your friend. You owe it to this man to honor him in the parish of Westmoreland. This is a stalwart. Mr. Tomlinson, do what needs to be done. Respect. Ryan LFC is one of the other vloggers, says, all the best, sir. Wendell Downswell, to you
Yeah, man.
and your family. All right. All right, coach. So take care.
Yeah,
Thanks
man. It's a
again.
pleasure, man. Take
Yeah,
care.
man. All right, then. All right. So there you go, people. What a conversation. I mean, very interesting. Well spoken. And you know how it is. We don't always agree with all things, but I hope you'd have heard some things that give you a better perspective in terms of understanding how the whole football landscape is in Jamaica. I want to thank you for your time. Like I said, generally, I don't do videos on my channel at this time. And so to have, I mean, up to 60 of you at different times on the live video, it's really good. Again, thank you so much. Remember to hit the like button. All right. Very important that you hit the like button. that you share the content as well. Let others know that Mr. Wendell Downswell was on the technical director. Also want to say a big thank you to our sponsors. Prestige Finance, lending a helping hand when you need it most. You can call them at 876-884-7390. At Prestige Finance, they give you what? Loan. Low interest rate, 1 to 4%. But not only that, right? Not just the interest rate, but no guarantors required. You just turn up there and they will help you. Same day processing and no processing fee. That's good. So check them out. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Bless up, Ryan LFC. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Hey, I saw shout to you, you know. Yeah, Gunners boss. Bless up. Yeah, man. More progress in all your endeavors. Yeah, man. And then Ricardo Baggio. Yeah, man. Bless up, one and all. Yeah, we also want to big up Launch Legacy. Yes, big up to Launch Legacy. Listen, if you're in Canada or the USA, you need to talk to Launch Legacy. Handle risk, seek legacy. So for all your personal insurance needs in Canada and the USA, visit them at launchlegacy.com or call or text 647-989-0782. Call Launch Legacy. You need insurance. You need insurance. Call them. All you Canadians and Americans, call them. Listen, I also want to tell you that Launch Legacy will be partnering with some local companies in Jamaica in February to put on a big financial webinar on I Am Sure Sports, where you'll be getting advice on the different products that are out there in terms of life insurance, health insurance, investment, and all of those things. So stay tuned for that around the second week in February this year. So again, thank you so much for sticking and staying with me. I appreciate your company. Um, enjoy the rest of the night. Join us tomorrow for our next intriguing interview, informative interview on I Am Sure Sports. Big things coming in February when we celebrate the day when we started, though we weren't live, right? That's a different time. We have some big things that are coming up for that. So stay tuned to I Am Sure Sports. Have a blessed night, everyone.